Coffee on, chaos managed. Let's talk.
Yes. Let's talk about your VA claim is denied. Now what you gonna do?
Well, first we're going to give a disclaimer here because we do every time, just to let you know, we're not lawyers. We're not doctors. We're not even VA advocates. We don't get paid for this.
We're not a counselor either.
No.
We ought to be paid for this, damn it.
We ought to be paid. It's all good. No, we're wives of disabled veterans that have traveled this road and are traveling this road. And we've just ferreted out a lot of this information.
Yeah. Well, because we found that this was stuff that we had to go trudging through. And it isn't simple.
No, there's a plethora of information out on the va.gov website, which we do encourage people to go visit and
can get lost through it
out
yourself.
There. You really can.
It's like a jungle.
And it can be very overwhelming.
I thought I saw some crazy creatures while I was out there. But yeah, so it definitely is a good resource.
Most
when
definitely.
You've got time to do a lot of reading and clicking and finding and clicking another link, I would say if you're going to click things, open in a new tab so you don't lose where you were.
Most definitely.
That's my little pointer.
Okay, so move on. Why VA claims my VA claim is denied. So now what am I going to do?
Well, how about you sit there, you got your letter and was a no. And you get that feeling in your gut like, well, crud.
Yeah.
I'm dinked.
It's that punch in the gut feeling.
Yeah, and you just figure there's nothing you can do.
I'm done. I got my decision letter. It's over.
There are things you can do.
No.
It's not the end of the road.
No, it is not.
That letter that says, sorry, you've been denied.
Not the end of the road, not the end of the world. Yep.
Soldier on.
Exactly. There we go. This is just part of the process.
It is. So the VA process, it's kind of a marathon when you think about it, as opposed to a 100-yard dash.
That's true. But I've wanted the 100-yard
I know.
dash.
Everybody wants to go from A to Z.
I can't do a 5K.
My knee. I can't do it.
I can't even do a 2K.
So we're going to start breaking down what the appeal actually is and the options that you have so that, how you can move forward strategically.
Yeah.
Alrighty. First thing you're going to do is you're going to read your decision letter, and you're probably going to need to read it another 5 times. You're going to have to read it very carefully, and there's probably going to be parts of it that you're going to need to go out onto Google to figure out exactly what it is they're trying to communicate. Sorry, it's the truth.
Exactly. When you receive a rating, decision, it really includes a number of things. What was approved or denied.
Right.
Your percentage that they're assigning you, an effective date, which is important.
Yeah. And
also the reason for their decision.
Yes, because they will tell you why it was a yay or a nay.
Yes, they do.
And it's very important to know, especially if they say no, why they said no, because this is going to be like a treasure map of sorts. So you're a roadmap to getting from what you've already done in the process and seeing what they had to say about it.
Yep,
and
they're
when
actually
they said no,
telling you. They're telling you what you need to know.
Yeah, there'll be clues in there as far as like what maybe you could have done a little bit differently. So there are ways you can go back and tweak things.
Yep.
So, and that's, so don't react emotionally the first time, if you get a denial. Just don't go throw paper up in the air.
That might be a knee-jerk reaction. Great, I was denied. That's the end of the world.
Well, it's not only that, but that's the end of my journey. I'm never going to get anything.
Nope. Remember that marathon that you thought you couldn't run.
So, when you go through this, that you're reading it, you may not want to mark up the original one. Make a copy of it.
Yeah.
And then sit there. Pen, highlighter, a pad of paper.
What sticks out to you.
Yeah.
That could be used
to
go back for
You can
an appeal.
make notes, if you have questions about what's on there for things that you can go and research, or go to the VSO and ask questions to.
Yep.
You can put down things, okay, well, they said this, and this is maybe what I could add to it to help down the road for an appeal.
Or how about they said this, they didn't take into consideration that I gave them this.
Right.
So, I mean,
they're not perfect people.
No, they're
there are
not.
things
We're
that
all
do
human.
slip through the cracks.
Yep, most
so
definitely.
sometimes you have to shove it under their nose and say, revisit this, please.
But that is also why they give you the explanation.
Right.
And then that's also why we're telling you to read it carefully and highlight the important things that you're going, wait a minute. This didn't, wait a minute.
And when, and if you do to have that knee jerk that you throw it up and, oh, doggone it, I didn't get, that's not the time to sit down and reread it.
No.
That's the time to walk away from it.
Yeah. Deep
and when you sit there and you calm yourself down and go, okay,
let's be logical.
Let's look at this a different way. Let's see what I can do to positively go forward with this. That's when you're going to sit down and read through it. And better yet, if you have a trusted individual to go through and sit there and
Spouse,
read it with
friend,
you.
Somebody from the VSO, advocate, whatever.
Most definitely. And if you find that you get with somebody at the VSO that you don't click with, don't be afraid to find another one to go to.
Yeah, there's more out there.
That's a kind of a thing I told somebody yesterday.
Alrighty then. So we're going to ask ourselves, what is an appeal?
An appeal.
An appeal.
Okay. Well, an appeal simply means that you're going to go back to the VA and say, hey, I want you to review your decision because I think it's wrong. Yeah. And here's why.
Yeah. And generally you have 1 year from the decision date to actually take action. So it's not like it's a...
Yeah, you don't have to jump on it tomorrow. But keep in mind...
Don't let it sit on the back burner.
Yeah. The decision date, not the date that you got it in hand.
Yeah.
So if it got lost in the mail for a month, you need to go to the date
look
on
at the actual
letter.
Date on the letter. And that's actually a great point. Something that you should have highlighted.
Ooh.
Just saying.
Yeah. All right, so there are 3 main review options that you do have.
Yeah.
Under the modern appeals system, the AMA, they love their alphabet letters.
I noticed that.
Veterans, they typically have 3 paths that they can go.
Yeah, the first one is a higher level review.
The HLR.
It is. It's another letter to say. This is actually what they call a more senior reviewer that gets this, and they re-examine the existing evidence.
Yeah,
is what it is.
You're not going to have to provide new. Nothing can be added. This is just you're saying, I want somebody that's got a little bit more experience to have a look at all of this again. So. And you're just going to request it. It's informal conference call kind of a thing. Yeah,
most definitely. And this is best for when you believe that the VA made an error.
Right. Yeah. Because, like we said, nobody's perfect. And the evidence, it was already submitted, but it was not properly considered. This is the process.
Yeah.
You don't want to say, oh, they're wrong. They missed it. No, you just think it wasn't properly considered.
Yeah. Okay. A second option is going to be what they call a supplemental claim.
All right. And what this is you're actually going to submit new and relevant evidence.
Yeah, most definitely. What could that include, though?
All right. Well, think about it. Maybe you've got new medical records.
Yeah, that would be a nexus letter.
Because you could have forgotten about a doctor.
That's true.
Or it was delayed information.
Yep.
There's also something that they refer to as lay statements, which is basically a letter from maybe somebody that you served with that knew what was going on. Or it could be a family member.
It could be a family member.
Yeah,
it could be your spouse.
It could be your spouse.
Get out of my head.
Or, it's rent-free. Leave me alone. Or it could, even one of your older children, it could be a young adult or even a high schooler, because they get to a certain age,
Yeah.
their thoughts come into play because, well, let's face it,
They have them.
they observe 6, 7. So, and then of course there's also clarifying documentation that can be provided, which if something came across maybe as a little muddied, this gives you the opportunity to clear it up.
Yeah, most definitely. And this is best used when they denied because you didn't have enough evidence. You lacked that evidence.
Yeah. And now you have stronger medical support to go along with your claim. And then we have what is known as the Board of Appeal.
That sounds so official.
It does, doesn't it?
It is official.
It is. It's a review that's done by veterans that are like law judge.
It's the law judge. Yeah, the veteran law judge.
So now we're getting really legal here. So you can choose to either do a direct review where there's no evidence provided.
Yeah, no new evidence for that one.
There's also evidence submission.
Yep.
And then you also have a hearing option.
Yeah, but it is important to note that this path usually takes longer.
Oh,
this I think is one of the longest ones.
Yeah, because you have to consider it's kind of like any other kind of a court situation.
Yep.
You're not the only one.
Yeah, you got to wait to be put on the docket.
Yeah, your pecking order.
Yeah.
So let's talk about why do claims get denied?
Well, there are some common reasons.
Such as?
No confirmed diagnosis, which is really quite interesting. And it's amazing that people will turn in a claim because they've got all these symptoms.
Yeah.
But unless you have that confirmed diagnosis through a medical decision, you've got no leg to stand on. They want that.
Yeah. And the other thing is also that there's not really a connection between your condition and your service time.
Yeah, it's important to establish the connection there.
That's where you're connecting the dots. You got to take it, work it backwards to be able to link it into your service time.
Yeah, another one is the lack of a nexus. But now, from what I understand, you don't necessarily need a nexus, but if your claim has one, you're better off.
Yeah, it's a little stronger.
Sometimes lacking that will kick it back.
Yeah, well, let's face it. With a nexus, it's coming from a professional. It's a physician.
Yeah.
So then they always weigh heavier than you sitting there saying, I have migraines.
Yeah, well, and it makes sense. Although your lay statement does weigh.
Oh, definitely.
It does weigh. A nexus letter backs it up.
Right. Exactly. It's about that support system.
Yeah.
And sometimes, the symptoms that you're experiencing, they actually don't meet up to a rating criteria. And
that's true.
They do have specific things that they're going to compare your symptoms to with what the criteria is in order to establish a rating.
Yeah, and this is where working with a VSO or an advocate is really helpful because
they know.
And then one of the last things is the CMP exam doesn't support the severity.
Right. And this is why we are proponents of don't go in there and minimize anything.
No.
We're not saying go on steroids and superimpose on things. No, we're saying look and think about your worst days. And that's how you're going to describe your situation based on how you feel on your worst days.
Exactly. And you just have to know that most of these denials, they're not personal.
No.
They're evidentiary.
Yeah, because they're basing it strictly on what they
presented.
see.
Yeah. Okay. So now we know all this information. How do we decide what path to take?
Throw darts?
Well, I suppose you could do that. Flip a coin, but you don't have a 3-sided coin.
Well, there is that. You could wheedle it down and, kind of like the playoff game.
I think you need to get a pen and paper and start asking yourself a few questions.
That's the boring way.
Yeah, but if you jot down these answers, it leads you to the path you want to take.
Okay.
So boring can be productive.
Okay, let's be productive.
Let's ask ourselves, do I have new evidence?
Okay.
That's reasonable.
All right. Consider also, did the VA overlook something in your claim?
Which is very possible.
It is possible.
They're human.
May not have been brought up in your C&P.
Did the C&P exam misrepresent my symptoms?
Right. Because depending on how the conversation goes
Yeah.
and what the examiner chooses to note, it may not be a perfect representation.
That's true.
And then also you want to ask yourself, do I need stronger medical opinion on my situation? Because, doctors are just as human as the rest of us. They've got busy schedules. You don't know what else is going on in their day. And yes, though, we want to say that as a professional, you should be able to put that aside. But as a human being, it doesn't always happen. So perhaps when you were having your examination with the doctor, something horrible happened in their morning. And their
coffee pot broke.
Now that's not quite horrible enough. But, it might be just a situation where they're not giving you their full attention.
Yeah, they're not on their game.
They're rushing through a little bit more than they ought to. Maybe they did not note something descriptively enough. These little things can happen.
Maybe they erroneously checked the wrong box when you answered a question because, again, they're human.
Well, and we've had that happen.
Yes, we have.
Which is how my husband suffered with a kidney stone for longer than he should have.
Yeah, well.
Oopsie.
But this is where working with an advocate, and I know we're beating this to death, but this is where working with an advocate comes in.
It does.
So really think about working with somebody from an accredited person with the VSO.
Yes, most definitely. And, we say these things because these people are in the trenches with this stuff day in, day out.
They know the key words. They know what they're looking for.
Well, they can, listen to what your personal situation is and know almost to a T exactly what you need to do,
how to go about putting it together,
all of it.
What information to attach.
Yeah. So, you make sure that, you've got the right representatives for you.
Yeah. And if it's something that's more complex, you might even consider an attorney that does those sort of things.
Because there are attorneys that do specialize in VA disability claims.
And you do have to know that VSOs and some representatives are free to the veteran, but there's also some of your representatives and attorneys that will charge you.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, guys, let's take a minute here and talk about the emotional reality of it all.
Yeah, because let's face it, this process can be very frustrating.
Yep, it can be. And you just gotta take those deep breaths. If you gotta walk away from it for a minute, you have to preserve self too.
Yes.
There's fatigue involved.
There is, because it's not
wearing process is what it is.
I think more often than not, it's mental fatigue.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much that goes into this. There's a number of pieces to make this puzzle fit together and create something that looks like something.
Yeah.
So fatigue is a real thing, which is why, you do have a window of time to get all your ducks in order.
But don't wait until the last minute
and think you're going to get it done.
The window gets chewed up.
Well, then you end up rushing things and you forget things and you overlook things, and that's how you get a denial from before you even had a shot at it.
Yeah. And feeling dismissed.
Yeah.
I mean,
because if you get that denial, it can feel like a brush off.
Yeah.
Like, my problems aren't even being recognized.
Yeah.
I know I have this going on.
I see other buddies that didn't get denied.
Yeah. Why?
Why did they dismiss me?
Mm-hmm. And it happens.
It does.
And also that just wanting to give up, just quit, forget it. It's too much.
But you got to realize persistence matters in this system.
You got to be the tortoise in this race.
Yep.
You really do.
Yep, most definitely. Persistence should be strategic, not reactive.
Right. All right. So timelines and patience are going to be best friends here. So let's set some realistic expectations.
Okay.
Higher level reviews, they can take months.
That's true.
It's not going to be an instantaneous, I want a higher level of review and think that you're going to get a call back the next day. No, it's going to be a several months process.
Yeah. Well, then you've always got that supplemental claim. But again, those vary.
Yeah.
And that really just depends on
The information, right? With the amount of information involved.
Yeah.
And of course, that, as we already said, the Board of Appeals, good Lord, that can take quite a long time.
Longer.
Okay. Longer. Just anticipate that it's going to be longer.
So now ask yourself, what is the best thing you can do?
First and foremost, organization is going to be a buddy. So
That is key. It really is.
It really. So when you start putting things together, think about having, I know a lot of people, especially the younger generation, they like doing things digital. I am not a fan of having everything left
paper.
digital because then you're clicking around trying to find things.
But
I like to be able to lay it in front of you.
Goes
Well,
oof.
if it craps out on you or
Your computer
gets corrupted,
dies,
everybody
you
says,
get in trouble.
it'll be on the cloud. Yeah, do you trust these people?
I don't trust the cloud.
And of course, there is downsides to having everything in paper form. So
That's
do
true.
both. Scan it in, put it on
Keep
your hard
it
drive.
everywhere.
But
Yeah, copies are
consider
important. They really are.
putting together a binder. If you put things together and you have dividers in there so that you know exactly where specific information
Each thing is separated and you've got it all.
keep things dated so that you know what it is. If you've had to have conversations on the telephone with people,
Make it
as you're talking with them, make notes as to what's going down. And if you're just jotting bullet points, as soon as you get off that call, that's the time
Fill
you're going
in
to
your
take that
blanks.
and you're going to
Yeah.
write it out completely so that you have the details. And that's where people sometimes miss out on things because they had a conversation, they get off the phone, they go and they maybe like me, I might turn around and say, okay, hon, this is what this is all about. And then go back and go, what did I mean by that one?
I wrote mud, water, and tomorrow. Okay.
Oh no, that's tomato sauce. No.
Was I writing my grocery list?
Don't do that while you're having these phone calls. Do not multitask.
Oh.
No.
Okay, so we're staying organized. We're keeping copies.
And keep track of your deadlines.
Yes. Oh, well, and that's really important.
My goodness, is it important?
I mean,
you miss a deadline, you're going to have to start all over again.
Yeah.
And then you could also be losing out on that backdating.
Well, exactly, because you're starting all over again, so you're going to miss out on that back pay.
Yep, if you get it.
Don't do that. Okay. So why does all this matter? Why does this appeal matter?
Well, let's face it. If you've got a condition, and this is really, it's affecting your everyday life.
Yeah.
And you know that there was something, I mean, your specific thing may not specifically have happened in the service, but it is because of things that went on in the service. You've got that connection.
Yep.
You deserve to get an accurate evaluation.
Yeah, and you have to realize it's not an entitlement.
No.
It's not anger-based. You're not doing it out of anger.
Mm-mm.
You're doing it out of accuracy.
Right, because you know you, and somehow or another it didn't get communicated properly for them to see what's going on with you. So, if you've missed any of our episodes or you just need a refresher on some of the things that, we've talked about, we've helped to educate you on.
Which might be a good thing to go back through it. Okay, did I miss anything?
Right.
Take notes the second time.
Exactly. That's why we're going to encourage you, go back through our series and just re-listen to some of these things. You might have missed something the first go round.
Yeah, most definitely.
All right. So tell us in the comments, have you ever appealed a VA decision?
Yeah, I'd like to know. And then while you're there, we're going to invite you to like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah.
Send it to your buddies so that they've got this information too, because that's how we
that's how we
get
help
the
each other.
information out there. Yeah, definitely.
That's what this is all about. We're helping
Yeah.
other people.
And please know that a denial is not a verdict on your service at all. It's just a step in the process that sometimes requires just a little bit of clarification.
Right. So stay informed, stay organized, stay steady.
Yeah, because coffee's on.
Chaos managed.
That's Couch Talk.